Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. Well, we're definitely seeing signs of spring here at Dandelion Cottage. I've been outside trudging around in the snow. We still have, I don't know, a pretty good blanket of snow here, maybe ranging between 3 and 6 inches, but there are patches of ground beginning to show through. And I'm actually really excited because yesterday I saw my first robin of the year. Another sign of spring is the witch hazel is starting to bloom. So you can see these wonderful flowers here. These are the buds. They haven't opened up yet. And when we had that big snowstorm, a lot of branches came down, and among them were these buds from the silver maple. And I think you can see that kind of that beautiful sort of rusty reddish tinge to them. So little bits of color starting to spark up here and there all around. I also lost a branch from my pussy willow tree. I should have brought one of those in too. I'll do that next time. Today I thought I would share with you a quick watercolor sketch, and I'm going to use my new garden portfolio / journal to do that in. Now in my journal I used watercolor paper for the pages. You could use any kind of paper that you like. But I've already started, so I have a picture of some roses on the first page here, and I'm going to get working on this page today. I'm going to pull up a photograph on my computer, and this is a scene of my stone bench up by the frog pond, and it's still covered with snow. There are no leaves on the tree, but you can see the witch hazel in the foreground, and I thought it would make a pretty little scene. So I'm going to begin. I just want it to be in this upper corner of the page, and the bench, let's see, the bench is going to look something like this. And I know you're not going to see this very well at first because I'm sketching very lightly, but as the painting progresses, you'll be able to see it better and better. Now this stone bench is very special to me because underneath it I buried my cat who I had for nearly 18 years. The original Sophia Maria is buried, so we call this Sophia's bench, and it's next to the pond because she used to like to watch the frogs hopping around, and every once in a while she would even bring a frog in for me, which was not so great. So behind the bench is a tree line, and then the snow today is melting away. So this is all snowy through here, and then the ground is becoming visible down here, and this is where I saw the robin. So so that's my sketch, and I will zoom you in to see if you can make that out a little bit better. Whoops, there goes my zoom crazy. There we go. So I think you can see the very faint outlines there of the bench. All right, now I'm just going to show you what I'm using to get started. Excuse me. So I have my number 2 pencil that I use to do the sketch with. I've got a little cup here that I'm going to use for my water. And I'm going to use my sketching kit. So this is just a little tiny watercolor palette that I use for sketching out of doors and when I'm traveling. And it just has a very limited amount of colors in it. I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can see better. And then I've got a travel paintbrush. And I'm going to begin by just getting my paints a little bit wet. I also have off to the side a paint rag. So this is just a terry cloth bar mop that I can use to blot my brush on. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that we have planted some daffodils on either side of the bench here. And I know that under the snow they began to poke up because on one of the warmer days that we had a week or two ago, you could start to see them. So I'm going to begin with just a, just going to wet the paper a little bit and add some blue for the sky that's poking through behind those trees. And for the trees, I'm just going to use a kind of a grayish brown mixture just to indicate where those branches are. And then all of this in the foreground is going to be snow. And I can indicate some of the shadows on the snow. And then in the foreground, I'm going to use a mixture of my yellow and blue to make a green, but the grass is more of a kind of a brown green right now. So I'm just going to tone that down so it's not quite so green. All right, so that's my basic composition. Some bits of earth could be showing through. I want to get back to my bench. Now this bench is made out of these beautiful kind of a warm gray granite. So I'm just going to kind of indicate those colors in there. little bit of the shadow. Now, I'm going to give this just a minute to dry a little bit. And while that's drying, I want to remind you that the Watercolor Card Club is now opened. And this month we are sketching roses. And you just have a couple of weeks more to register for the Watercolor Card Club. It's a subscription program. So each month you'll learn how to paint a different subject. And we're gearing up now to get ready for garden season. So it's not going to be long before the flowers start blooming and we start painting all the different things that are starting to open. And I also have a workshop that's open right now for making your own sketchbook. It's called the Scrap Busting Journal Workshop, and you're going to learn how to make a hardbound journal using traditional bookmaking methods, and learn skills that will enable you to make any kind of journal that you'd like, whether it's for watercolor or writing or travel or photos, anything at all. And finally, the other thing that I want to mention is there's going to be an introduction to sketching with watercolor coming very soon. And if you'd like to learn more about that and be notified when that opens up, you're going to have to subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage Design. So just go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com, and there is a tab there for Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you can subscribe that way. And then also today, after I do the video, I'm going to be putting all of these links below, so you'll be able to just come back and click on any of these links. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so you can see what I've got so far. So this is just the background, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to do a little more careful drawing with my brush. So I can begin to add some of the texture of these beautiful stones. Get those side planes established. So there's my bench. And then in the background, we do have some trees. So I'm just going to go ahead and indicate some of those branches going back into the distance. And some of them have a kind of a reddish hue to them as they come forward. So over here I've got a kind of a variegated willow that sort of bends over the pond. That will be sending out buds soon. And then I want to add a little dash of color in the foreground where the witch hazel is blooming. So I can grab I have my little sprig here, so I can just look at that for reference. Add some of these beautiful yellow flowers. And what I like to do is I like to design the page so I have a little bit of room for writing, so that I can use my sketchbook for both a journal and as a record of what the days were like, what I was looking at, what my thoughts were, maybe some favorite quotes. And I want to get some of this texture in the dried up grasses on this patch down here that has where the snow is melted, and it exposes some of those leaves that are dried up, and there's some twigs and branches down. Now for my foreground, I think what I want to do is add a little more texture using spatter. So I'm just going to mix up a nice dark mixture of paint, and I'm going to use this old toothbrush, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a spray. I can add some bigger spatter with my paintbrush, so just by tapping that. There we go. All right, so there's my little sketch for today. And it didn't take long. And it was a lot of fun to do. And now I have a little memento of what it was like outside today. And I can put the date. So I'm going to write March 22nd, 23. And then I have this little area down below that I can add some more notes. So there it is. A very simple little study that I think anybody could do with just a little bit of practice. If you'd like to learn more about sketching with watercolors, stay tuned for the upcoming class. It includes a watercolor kit and a video tutorial, and I'll help you get started on your watercolor journey so that you'll be in time for the spring and summer scenes and flowers and all the other critters that are going to be joining us soon. So thank you so much for watching today. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.